Howdy guys, welcome back to Deal by Deal episode 11. And what's cool about this one is that it's the first true Tysco deal. So the Tysco deals are named after me and my partner Scott, that we've done several deals together over the last 10, 11 years, because this first one was in 2012. And so it's also the name of a type of deal that we've done over and over and over. And this is the first one that's a true Tysco deal. So the year is 2012, and this deal was found right on the MLS. It's a mobile home with its own lot, so it's not in a park. It's an acre of land and this really rough mobile home. The mobile home wasn't given much value at all. It wasn't what most people would consider livable, but there was an older gentleman living there kind of barely. Like, the plumbing didn't work, it was filthy and gross, and he just couldn't take care of himself. It was quite not livable in my opinion. So the price on this property was $19,500, and I didn't have all of that money, so I was very interested in the property, but I was looking for the funds to do it, because he wasn't in a position to own or finance it, and because I needed work, I didn't want to buy something and get overextended. Well, I met Scott. He called me as a realtor to look at his other property that he had, and I was telling him about this deal, trying to talk him into being a capital investor into it. And as I got to know him, turned out that he was a handyman. So then we started talking that maybe he could invest some money into it, and I would pay him interest, like a loan, like I do a lot of times. And I was like, well, geez, I could probably hire you to do some of the work also. And so Scott said, well, man, if I'm lending some money to invest into the property and I'm going to be doing some work on the property, why don't we just partner instead? And I kind of wanted to do the deal myself, but I didn't have a very good rebuttal for that. And I was like, well, I guess that makes sense. And then, I won't have to pay him out of pocket for his work. We can just do a partnership on that. So we created a partnership agreement, said, I was bringing the deal and a little bit of the work, but he was doing most of the work. And we were going to split the money as far as profits or losses or anything there. And so we went into a partnership agreement, and we purchased this very rough mobile home. So this house was not in good shape. It had electricity, but I don't think that the heat was working. I don't think the plumbing was working, and winter was coming up. This carpet had like a half an inch of matted dog hair on it. It'd never been vacuumed, and he had dogs there for decades, and it smelled like it. It was pretty rough smelling. But by the time we got everything out of there, that actually cured most of it, because so much of it was caught up in the carpet and the dog fur and stuff. Then, bleaching everything out, getting it all cleaned up, getting the plumbing working. We didn't take this project to what we'd consider all the way. We got it to where it was clean and livable. And so the plumbing and the electric worked, and we sold it on owner financing. We bought it for $19,500, and we didn't have too much additional money into it. We had dump fees and miscellaneous materials. It was probably just a few $1,000s. Of course, we did have quite a bit of labor, mostly Scott's labor, that we put into it. And we sold it for $60,000 or $65,000 on owner financing. And so for the owner financing, we actually got a mobile home as a down payment. So this was a mobile home on land, and we got a mobile home in a park in the adjacent town of Palmer. We got that as the down payment. And if you've been watching these very long, that mobile home that we got back, I had actually sold to them a few years earlier, and that was deal by deal number 4. So I sold that to them several years before for $23,000, and then we ended up getting it back. The folks who bought it did not take very good care of it. They ran it down quite a bit. It wasn't in good shape. And so they gave it back as a down payment towards this one for $5,000. I asked them what they wanted for it. They said $5,000. I was like, man, that sounds great. And then I saw it. Of course, it was in really rough shape, but we did good on that one too. The next deal by deal we'll do is going over how we did that one again. So we got that one sold. And I think we're getting about $600 a month for a few years, and then they ended up needing to move. I think they left the area. We ended up getting it back. I don't remember. I think I brokered it for them and sold it to another family, and that family didn't take very good care of it either. Way too big of a family for such a small mobile home, actually. And eventually they decided it was too small, and they'd done a lot of damage, but they did put, more down payment and more monthly payments. So this whole thing was several years from when we originally bought it to when they left. And then we ended up selling it for a third time to a cash buyer, which was fortunate because we didn't want to fix it up again. And so he came in and paid cash for it. So we've been out from, I don't want to say out from under because we made really good money, but we've been out of that one for several years now. So our very first Tysco deal, and the way that the numbers worked out, we got the down payment, we got a bunch of interest over the years, we got the equity by offering the owner financing, and I think, well, I ran the numbers once, but it wasn't recently. I think we made somewhere in the mid 60s of profit on that property. Now we did do a lot of work a few different times. When we got it back, we'd redo it. So it was quite a bit of work, but it was a really good first deal, and really shows the power of owner financing, especially on those properties that otherwise are just really hard to sell. Okay, so quick side note, if you follow along, you know that a lot of the stuff that I own and a lot of the stuff in the videos behind me is loot. It's stuff that came with a property that I purchased, or stuff that tenants left behind. And a lot of it's just novelty stuff. I'll use it for a video and then donate it or throw it away. But I do have a lot of furniture, even a vehicle that we have that came with properties that I bought. So in this first deal that I did with Scott, this older gentleman who lived there when we bought it from him, I think he was getting food from like food banks or other charity organizations, and he would eat, he'd probably get like a box of food and he'd eat what he wanted and then would go back for another box, and he'd have some stuff that he just didn't eat. So on this one shelf, it was full of peanut butter. This whole shelf was full of peanut butter. So he must get a thing of peanut butter every year or every month or something, and it fills up. And I'm looking at it, and most of it's like expired. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, this is made of sugar and oil. Like, how bad can it be that it's just expired for a while? So Scott thought I was crazy because I'm like, I don't want to throw away food. So I opened it up, and I will tell you that peanut butter does go bad eventually. So I didn't eat any of it, but I could tell when you spooned it out of there, the texture was like wrong. The texture was like Play-Doh, but I still didn't want to throw it away. So we gave it to our chickens, who recycled it into eggs. So anyways, always trying to squeeze out everything I can and not throw away anything. We still talk about that, and he thinks it's crazy that I was considering eating this old peanut butter out of this property. But I've always been really frugal and just hate throwing stuff away. So we've taken a lot of food over the years and either donated it when it's not expired, or fed it to our dogs. If there's meat in the freezer that's freezer burnt, we'll cook it up and give it to our dogs. I just hate throwing away food. So it's a little bit more about me. Hope you enjoyed the video. I do offer coaching and, of course, real estate services. If you're interested, I've got webinars where we talk about this type of deal, and would love to hear from you. Connect on social. Find me on YouTube, Facebook, all the spots. Thank you.